Good morning, welcome back. So, although I'm not your security expert or your compliance officer, we've decided that we're going to do a quick brief video on internet and security for yourselves. So we want you to just follow along and listen and learn, and perhaps just understand how better you can keep your security going. And that to me is obviously very, very important, because with the move and the shift from a traditional workplace, some people are working from home and some people might be doing all various kinds of things. So a couple of things we've noticed while working on our clients' computers that we'd like you to be aware of, that we'll hopefully move on and present you just a slightly bit more of a security aspect that you can have. So we're going to be working a lot face-to-face like this today, but I'm also going to show you on the screen a variety of things that you should or shouldn't do. And that to me is where we're going to start. So to start off with on the screen, I want to just highlight to you this little up arrow here called Show Hidden Icons on the taskbar of your system. When you undo that, you're going to see one of two things. Either you're going to see the little shield that is Microsoft Defender, and effectively on that shield you want to make sure that it's always got the green tick and not the red cross. If it's got a red cross, it means something on your machine is not being looked after. If your company is slightly bigger than 3 or 4 people, or you have a slightly larger corporate footprint, you will have something to the effect that looks similar to this, which will say endpoint agent. It doesn't matter whether it's Sophos, Norton, there's a number of them, Kaspersky, there's a whole host of them. So if you double click on that, you want to make sure that at all time your device is protected, that you have no malware or PUAs, or that you can scan for it at least, or you can run quick and full scans. But you want to make sure that everything is in green, that anything here in red that is happening, you need to report immediately to your IT. Now, for example, if I want to go to events and detections, I can see what it's detecting and that it was blocked. You got the green tick, and if it's got a red tick, again, report that to IT. On detections, you can just double check and make sure that no malwares were found, but also it'll allow you to do full and quick scans. Now, these things all look slightly differently, but effectively work in the same way. If for whatever reason on your front end viewer, for whatever endpoint system you're using, you've got the option to turn off or enter an administration thing here where you've got this tamper protection password. Okay, let's just say I'm going to write in some random password, admin sign in, failed. So not even I possess the password to my tamper protection. But that will allow me, if I go in here, to turn off and on my antivirus. Now, if you've got the options to turn antiviruses off and on, that is a massive security risk. We do suggest that you please go and speak to an IT department if you have one in the company, or speak to an IT professional to see how you can get the best antivirus that works for you and that will work for your machine. Yes, I understand that a lot of people are saying, oh, but Lou, the stuff Charles resources and memory. And yes, if you're working on an i3 with 4 gigs of RAM, guess what? You are going to suffer. So we've always suggested that when you are working in an admin department or a claims department, that you work on an i5 with at least 8 gigs of RAM, but you have got a very robust and sturdy software system that maintains your virus protection. If you are a smaller company without an IT department, we do definitely suggest either using Norton, we use Sophos, or you can use Kaspersky. In fact, Defender is reasonable if you are not transferring files across any networks. When you're using, let's say, for example, a FileZilla or a FTP or SFTP system, we always recommend that you use the protocol that is SFTP. That is of vital importance. You don't need to use anything else. If your transfer of your data is under a general FTP and doesn't have the S meaning secure, you are possibly going to have data interceptions and things are going to happen on your data lines. If you're working from home and you don't have a firewall, please ensure that you make sure that your router has a very high password. You don't want to be able to join somebody's network like so. Don't know whose these are, but if I can guess these networks and I can join them, it means I can listen into what you're doing. So be very careful if you are working from home that you have a very good Wi-Fi password that can't be guessed, so no one can accidentally or climb onto your network. And also be careful as to who you provide network access to. I'm now going to go into emails, and every now and again I get this lovely mail, and when I go there it looks, oh, Standard Bank, and it's oh, you are to open the attached document with the message because you are waiting, there's a recent security report. Okay, this mail looks very legit. Now the issue here with this mail is the fact that, one, it creates a sense of urgency. So it tells me urgent action, reminder, urgent concern. Okay, but now let's dig a little bit deeper here. Please have a look at this email address. Who the hell is Jaquin Jill at prosin.org? Now, I can make this name in the front where it says Standard Bank look like anything. That's so easy to do. I literally go into my Outlook settings and I reset my name. Okay. However, when you have a look at the actual email address that's appended to the back of it, then you will see where this mail is coming from. Now, first of all, Standard Bank, Synaptic, my staff, or anybody else will never ask you to click on a link and go and sort something out. Okay. We will only ever relay information to you as to how to do things or give you a one-time PIN that you will be able to go and use on our system that's requiring it, not through an email. Second of all, we've got an HTML document here. That is not legit. An HTML document should not be coming through to your emails. Now, I'm using a dummy email here, or a very old email of mine that is not going through any of the security features that we have on our systems as well. And here, if you open this document, effectively what's going to happen is it is going to either try and put on a malware, or it's going to try and put on a worm or a Trojan that will gather data on your system. So stay away from mails like this and get them deleted. Yes, they look legitimate. Sometimes, they say up to 5 working days. These guys are very clever when they set these things up. And this is just one example of the thousands this particular address receives. And I use this address for training, so we allow this to happen. What we do suggest is that we have both 2 different security devices on our emails, and these are not relatively difficult to set up. Number 1, we've got Mimecast that will always protect and look for things like Trojans, look for things like HTML files, look for things like risk files that can come through on email. Please understand that something as simple as a Word document or a picture that someone sends you can contain a macro inside of it which can run a particular Trojan or infect your machine the way it's happening at the moment. So please don't do that. Don't look at these mails. Try and get these things in place and do the necessary protection. Your first protocol is your endpoint security virus system, which could either be Microsoft Defender or one of the 4 I mentioned earlier, being Norton, Kaspersky, Sophos, or whichever other option you go to. Free ones usually aren't good enough, especially if you're dealing in this market or you're using Synaptic on your machine. We do not suggest that, and we also will not cover you should you get hacked. Then what happens is, check your emails. Then the second and third thing that you can do is you can allow yourself to get something called, or link to yourself to a company called SendMark. SendMark is a company that will literally be able to start verifying your SPF and also your DKIM records on the email. So you can literally decline emails that are coming in from non-secure sources. And it'll also help you refine that when you send mails, you are a trusted sender. You then have Mimecast, which is going to be put onto a certain mailbox. So, for example, that mailbox I was using earlier is an old mailbox that's no longer existent. There's still some mails coming in from that, and I use it for training. But on my Designer Solutions mailbox, I've got Mimecast in place. Now, Mimecast will literally block and stop any malicious mails or anything it thinks is malicious or anything your IT department may deem malicious. This could be zip files, exe files, or executable files. It could be Word and Excel documents, and it can also be the fact that use HTML files are coming through. But always verify the sender. Mine will always say, for example, Llewellyn Marais, South Africa, and in the brackets behind it will be llewellyn.marais@designersolutions.co.za. But I also have SendMark, which will mean that your system will recognize me as a registered sender, and it will stop anything what we call director spoofing. So it'll stop anyone with the ability to try and set up an email that closely resembles mine, like for example putting a 3 instead of an E in the Llewellyn. So even if they got access to my emails, it certainly wouldn't happen that they'd send an email like that. So those are some of the security tips that we do look at. So another thing that we've also noticed a lot in some cases is that people will have their passwords. There are so many passwords to remember. And I've seen two different cases. So one, they will do the password like this. So llewellyn@email.com, and they'll say password will be 123456 or whatever the case may be. And then what they'll even do is sometimes we'll even go as far as to say synaptic password. You might then have underneath that, you'll then say Windows password, and you'll do the same thing. PIN 385247, whatever the case may be. Okay, so effectively people will do things like this and save this as password file or whatever, or save this under a strange name. But hackers look for this, and they look for most frequently opened files, because if you're going to use a password file like this, you're going to open it almost every day. So it'll always be under your recent history. So don't do this. The other one I've seen as well is that they do something very similar, but you put it into a sticky note. Okay, don't do that. Not good. Just don't do that. Security wise, not good. Okay. Again, we will never request you to respond to an email. We might send you a one-time PIN. We might send you a reset password code for the time being if your password is blocked. But please just make sure that your basic administration is correctly set up. Make sure you're not doing any of this. If you really need to store your passwords, may I suggest you get a password manager on your phone. In fact, iPhone comes with one built in. I'm very sure that Samsung does the same thing. So my thing would be is to activate that, maybe even pay a subscription for that, and utilize a password manager if you've got multiple passwords. I've got 42, so unfortunately I do need a password manager, and I generally use that as opposed to using this. The other thing that I do quite frequently is that I will even go so far as going into Norton Password Generator, and for each time I've got to change a password, I normally bump that up to 15. And what you can see here is that Norton will automatically generate a strong password every time I hit refresh. Then I will copy that or write it down. I will then reset my password and I'll put it into my password manager on my phone, so that when I need to log into something, I utilize my password manager, but I've got a different unique password for every login and application. Please understand that also using the same password or even the same password mechanism. So let's say you are creating a password, I don't know, let's just say you're going to say I don't know, but June 2025, for example. And every month you just go July 2025. And you start creating a sequence, people are going to start noticing that. That's why we use the random password generator. So it just generates random numbers and then it throws it all together depending on how many you want. We always suggest that good passwording rules will be as follows: 10 characters minimum. Okay, and that's actually what Synaptic is going to ask you for. At least 2 should be capitals, at least 2 should be numeric, so in other words numbers, and at least 2 should be special characters. Okay, now what is a special char? Special char is literally these funny symbols that I'm putting up here, which you use by holding shift and your number keys on the top of your keyboard. So we always insist on that as a basics. In some of our clients, we might even extend that, because some clients actually require you to have 14 characters at least minimum. So please don't do that. Also, never, and I know that Synaptic won't allow it, but never use your name or your email or any part of things that could be guessed that is easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Never use a sequence. Synaptic will block you. If you use your name, Llewellyn at Synaptic, for example, that will block you because it's too easy to guess. So little things like that, using the basic common words like password or any word that forms, will be blocked as well. So when doing your passwords, make sure you remember them, and then utilize your password manager. Remember that most passwords are going to expire every 31 days at minimum. Some aren't that hectic. Facebook or TikTok or even Instagram don't require a constant password change, and that's a problem, because this is a lot of people are getting hacked lately, and I'm sure you've seen these accounts, or maybe your friend's account has suddenly got, oh, I earned 358,000 Rand this afternoon in doing this thing, and it's posted on their page with their bank account picture. You know, that means something's happened, something's gone wrong there, and you haven't changed your password in a while. So make sure that you get into the habit of changing passwords at least every 6 months on your social media accounts, but maybe even once a month if you wish. But these are things that you really need to take into great consideration. Don't use easy passwords. Don't reuse passwords constantly. And the beautiful thing by using a password manager is that it will tell you where you are using multiple passwords, or passwords that are too similar, or passwords that are too easy to guess. So that's just my little spiel for the day. I hope that helped. It's a quick basic introduction as to how to handle basic security, but let's just recap quickly. Make sure you've got an antivirus. Make sure you don't use the same passwords. Make sure your passwords are good passwords. Use a password manager and not putting it onto your screen in a sticky note or into a file that is accessed daily. And just make sure that you read the emails and the source of the email where it comes to you, so that you don't go click on something wrong. Also, never click on a hyperlink in an email or a document unless you are very trusted of the source of where it's coming from. One last tip: if you are working from home or something, ask your company for a VPN, virtual private network, which you can then log on to, which will mask a lot of the work that you do, especially if you're working online. And that's what we can say for you today. Have a great day, and we'll speak to you soon.